Hello everybody, my name is Shelby. I'm the owner of the Gift Gala Shop Candle Company, and I appreciate you guys coming along this little adventure, this little YouTube adventure with me. I have gone back and forth with the idea of having a YouTube channel for probably 2 years, and it just overwhelmed me. After my community on Instagram pushed me, I am taking the leap in. I would just take this very first video as an introduction of myself and my business and just have a little chat. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw kind of my thoughts and ideas of what I wanted to do with this YouTube channel. And I just want to start out by saying this is a come as you are type place. This is a community. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're a candle maker or you're obsessed with candles, which I hope that you are. This is just a place for you to come and just hang out for a little bit. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to share with you all how I started my 6-figure candle business. And no, it didn't start out as 6 figures. It took a couple years. I grew up on our family ranch in Nebraska, and it's a working ranch, cattle, farming. Like homegirl right here, she's from the sticks. McDonald's was an hour away. Closest gas station or grocery store was 30 minutes away. I just was raised in a really rural area. And it's just my mom and I. And she is an amazing, amazing businesswoman, and she instilled in me the ideas and the skills to have my own business. So we decided that we would spend some of our time in Texas. I was rodeoing, be on the road a lot, but I did not want my college degree to suffer. So I did pursue my bachelor's in business administration with an option in marketing, but I did everything online. So I had scholarship. I'm fortunate enough to have an amazing mom that was helping me out, but you know, at 18, you want to pitch in too. So I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to make some headbands. And this was back in 2011. I don't know if you guys remember this. If you're a millennial, you for sure will remember this, but the big chunky headbands, you know, with like the bling on them and stuff, they were like almost like bandanas or do-rags. Yeah, I started making those. Then I quickly moved into stretch lace, did some research, and realized that I could basically sell the exact same thing as a wedding garter and make twice the money. With that, the Ragged Diamond was born, which is my first small business love. It's still going to this day. I still make wedding accessories along with my candle business. Fun fact about me. So yeah, I got going on Etsy. That was before Etsy was really even a thing. I was just all in the bridal industry, and still to this day, I love everything that symbolizes love. That's still just a really beautiful part of my life. Every fall, we go up to the ranch in Nebraska and we hang out, and we were driving around in our buggy. This was probably in October, towards the end of October. I told my husband, I said, you know, I really want to make candles for all of our family members and friends for Christmas. What do you think? And he's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. So I started telling him about all of the information that I'd found that, you know, paraffin candles are terrible for your health, and fragrance oils that are paraben free and phthalate free and all these things, which he was in his mind, he was probably thinking, I don't care. He never thinks like that. He never shows it. Telling him all these things, he says, well, why don't you just sell those too? And I was like, you know, that's a really good idea. I've never made a candle before, but hey, let's sell them. The rest of the trip was me enveloped in my phone, researching wicks, candle jars, vessels, you name it. I went down the rabbit hole in order for $100 worth of materials, which if you guys can remember, back in 2018, your $100 went a lot further for candle making supplies. I was burning the candle at both ends. I was staying up at all hours, just so excited with this new journey, and I had no idea it was going to be a new business too. I just tested, and all the while I was brainstorming all these different ideas and how they could integrate into my wedding boutique, because the Gift Gala Shop wasn't even a thought at this time. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, we can do bridesmaids gifts, we can do all these custom labels, we can do wedding favors, you know, it really just went with my existing business that I had. So within the month, I had 10 new Etsy listings, all candle related, wedding favors, all the things. And within a couple months, they were selling. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun, you know? For a whole year, I bonded these two businesses, wedding accessories and wedding candles, together into this one shop. And after a year, I realized that my shop was really messy and it was almost confusing because I had brides coming to my shop for candles, and then I had brides coming to my shop for garters, and it was just, even though they were both a bride or a maid of honor, there were still really different types of people that were coming to my shop in terms of what they were looking for, and I began to think that it was causing confusion. And I told my husband, I said, you know, this candle business is taking off, like it's successful. I think that it can stand on its own two legs. And so I said, I'm going to split my shops, which was the best thing that I ever did for both of my businesses. And after a lot of deliberation, the Gift Gala shop was born. So I have to pause right here because I know that my candle shop name is not your normal average candle shop name. Whenever somebody orders a candle or I meet somebody in person and we talk candles, they say, the Gift Gala shop. Wow, that's a really unique shop name. You know, like, why did you not call it something like Farmhouse Meadow Candle Studio? Because you're selling farmhouse candles, you embody all things rustic and country living, so why did you choose the Gift Gala shop? The first time ever, I'm going to tell a little story on how this candle shop was named. Keep in mind, I had a wedding boutique, or have a wedding boutique, a bridal boutique, and I was doing all custom candles. I had no core collections, no seasonal candles. These were strictly hand-poured custom candles, okay? And so I really focused on gifting. I mean, that was like my specialty. That was my niche. And when I was thinking of names, I was trying to think of something that had to do with gifts, hence the gift part and Gift Gala shop. The thesaurus on Google, and I started looking up all these different words and stuff. I decided that I wanted it to be like a gift party. And so when I was looking in the thesaurus, I come up with gala. If you're not familiar what a gala is, it's a party. It's a royal party. It's a place for people to get together and enjoy the evening, have drinks. The Gift Gala basically is a gift party. You know, when you come to my website, you are going to find an entire party full of gifts. Again, if you were alive and vibing in 2018 on Etsy, you know that everything was name, shop. You had rings. It's like, this is the ring shop, or this is the shabby flower shop. And so that kind of stuck. And then after the fact, when I realized that for SEO purposes, you know, the Gift Gala shop is really great for gifting, but it did not really incorporate the candle part of my business into it, then it turned into the super duper long name, the Gift Gala Shop Candle Company. And now I'm kind of doing a little bit of, not really a rebrand. I will always have the Gift Gala Shop Candle Company as like my main name, but the majority of the way people are finding me on Google or on Facebook is they're typing in Gift Gala Candles. And that's way easier to say, especially when I'm promoting my candles. I can just be like, hey, you have a Gift Gala candle. You see me start to refer to Gift Gala candles more so on Instagram. That's why it's a little more sticky. So that way it makes an imprint on people's minds. It's easy for them to remember and they can come back and find me. They're not going to remember the Gift Gala Shop Candle Company, but they are going to remember Gift Gala candles. Continue my story on how I built my candle business and scaled it to 6 figures. It was really just a whirlwind. I had been making candles for 2 or 3 years before COVID hit, and as we all know, COVID was crazy for retail, especially if you were an online store. We all saw humongous growth and sales during COVID just because people were sitting at home. I mean, all they had to link themselves to the outside world was their computer. And that year was a really great year, but also a really traumatizing year for me. Very into 2019, and I had launched these brand new spa gift sets, and I was flying solo. It was just me working in the shop, and I was steady. I was doing well. I still had my bridal boutique, and so I was working both jobs. My son hadn't been born yet, and so it was fine. Everything was great. January 2020 rolls around. I'm still growing on Etsy. Everything's kind of increasing. I start to expand my candle lines and decide that I'm going to add a few core collections, And I have to pause and say, I never thought that I would be that candle shop that had my own core candles that was in competition with, let's say, Bath and Body Works or Yankee Candle Company. I never thought that I could compete with those types of people. It's just a really beautiful part about small business. If you have your eyes open and you're willing to take opportunity when it comes, the sky is the limit. I tell anybody and everybody, every big business starts small. So, I mean, I started making my candles in my tiny little kitchen, and now I have this beautiful studio. Kind of squirreled off there. January 2020, my business was growing, it was steady, and I was good to go. Fast forward to March, and literally everything turned into chaos. But if you were in the candle making business at this time, you know how crazy this got, because people did not go into work. Businesses were shut down. Guess what? Online businesses, we were not shut down. We were thriving. We did not have anybody working for us anyway other than ourselves. So we're like, oorah, man, let's go. Cue Mother's Day coming in April, and the majority of this country could not go be with their mother on Mother's Day. Have this paired with brand new Mother's Day gift boxes. Crazy. I was getting 150 orders a day, which that may not sound like a lot to some. Anybody that's a solo candle maker, you know how many that is. And first couple days of this, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. A week in, I'm like, where am I going to get these materials from? My suppliers are shut down. They are not shipping. I have 500 open orders that I have to somehow fulfill. And not only do I have to fulfill them, I have to get them delivered by Mother's Day. And as you guys all remember, the mail got really, really slow. So not only was I having an issue with supply shortage and staff shortage, because it was just me, and then my husband, bless his heart, decided to jump in and help me. And if he wouldn't have, I would have never made it. And very fortunate enough, we live in a college town and I was able to hire some help, but I mean, we were living in the trenches. It didn't matter. You could have had a whole army of help, and it was just wild and out during that time. So as we're chipping away at these orders, literally getting up at 4 in the morning, going to sleep the following 1 o'clock in the morning, running on 3 hours of sleep, okay? 5 weeks of this. I was physically unwell. And then I would look at my bank account and I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We can keep doing this. We're great. So we're chipping away at these orders. Mail gets really slow. A little delay is okay. I can explain that to my customers. They're going to understand. No, people did not understand. They were scared. They were scared to death. They have been told to stay in their homes. They had been told that this illness was going to kill them. Mother's Day was coming up that they were not going to be able to spend that with their mother. The fear of them even thinking that their mother may contract COVID and not be okay, these people are not in a good headspace. And they dang sure wanted their spa gift set to arrive by Mother's Day, which obviously I did too. And before you guys judge me, I did cancel a bunch of orders. When I realized how many orders I was getting in, if we were not going to be able to fulfill them, I was not going to take their money. So I do need to clarify and say we did put a limit on how many orders we took per day. And we finally decided on 100 orders a day, which was a lot. And then anything that was over 100 orders per day just got refunded, and they could either place the order the next day or just shop elsewhere. About 3 weeks before Mother's Day was when things got really, really crazy with the mail. I had shipped over 200 orders within the course of a couple days, and they were not moving. They were not scanning in. They had never had the origin scan in. It looked like I just had never shipped these orders. I called the postmaster. I called Fort Worth, because we're about an hour and a half from Fort Worth, and that's our main hub. All of our mail in Stephenville goes straight to Fort Worth. And I called their postmaster. I was on the phone 24/7. And the thing is they were short-staffed. You know, they were still trying to deliver mail, but they were short-staffed. And they didn't really know where these packages were. Days and days go by, and I'm beginning to think that I'm gonna have to replace all of these orders. And I kept explaining to all of my customers, look, I know that, it's looking like that I did not ship these, but I did. They just have not scanned in, and they're just sitting at the hub because everybody's short-staffed. The world is literally shut down. After a week, I did begin to replace these spa sets that were not showing up. Double the work, double the stress, double the cost. And I was just like, when is this gonna end? It's like, can Mother's Day please just get here and be gone, because I am exhausted. I am stressed to the max. Finally, after a couple weeks, come to find out, those 200 orders that had been sitting did finally make their way to their destinations. And some of them did get 2 spa sets because I remade them and resent them, and it was just a mess. So I had this really awesome surge all through 2020 that gave me a big boost for my business, of which it did almost scale too fast, too quickly. I really had to get my feet under myself. I did need to take the time to understand my customer and get more familiar with the business. Within a couple years of starting the Gift Gala shop, it was making 6 figures. Fast forward to 2025, obviously learned so much in the last 7 years, and now having a 6-figure business is way more comfortable just because of the experiences that I've had. The stresses, along with the celebrations and the victories, the highs and the lows, I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm finally kind of plateauing a little bit. My advice to you as a small business owner or a candle maker is, 1, research your niche, figure out what people are wanting. And I need to interject and say that if you're not into your product, your customers are not going to be into your product either. So if you're in a penthouse in New York City, you're probably not going to be making mason jar candles. And if you're like me and you're a country bumpkin, I'm probably not going to be making super duper modern candles. This is really important if you want to scale your business, because 1, you need to be able to believe in your product. You and the product essentially are one. I know that sounds weird, but if you're going to appeal to your customers, and if you're going to build a community around your products and around your brand, then it needs to be something that represents you as a person. Because day after day after day, you're going to have to be making your products. You're going to have to stay inspired. You're going to have to be promoting your products. You're going to have to enjoy, well, I mean, you don't have to, but I don't think any of us want to be in a job that we don't love to do. So in order to be in a place that you're happy and content, you need to be making products that you love. And I know this kind of contradicts what a lot of people say, which is why I say that you need to research your niche. Yes, you need to make products that other people are going to be interested in, other products that are trending. That is true. You can't make and sell a product that there just is no use or no want for. But day after day in your business, who you are and what you represent, because it will kill your inspiration and it will kill your business like that. That would probably be my biggest advice to my younger self 15 years ago. My second piece of advice would be to invest as little of money as possible into your prototype products, so you have the opportunity to create several different prototypes and get them out there in front of your audience and see which ones they like. For example, I'm not going to create a label for 58-ounce candles and have my money tied up into a brand new label that I don't even know if my target audience is going to like. Nor am I going to buy a 5-pound jug of fragrance for $120 when I have no idea if this type of scent is even going to resonate with my customer. Just starting out, or you're wanting to expand your product lines, make a single prototype before you invest a whole bunch of money into a whole line of products that you may end up being stuck with. And I understand, when I started with my $100 back in 2018, inflation was not what it is now. And I do understand that it might take you a couple $100s in order to test several scents, but there are so many great candle supply companies right now that offer 1-ounce samples. You can buy the jars and buy a sample. Do this. and burn it. Test, burn it down, reuse the jar again, and fill it with another scent. Do not spend a bunch of money starting something new when it's not necessary. My third piece of advice is do not get caught up in social media. And I know that this is really hard right now, coming from somebody that gets caught up in social media literally every day. Do not go down the rabbit hole of thinking that your products are inferior just because what you're seeing on social media is different than what you're selling. So I personally have had this problem over the last year. A lot of people say the algorithm has not changed. A lot of people say it has changed. I think the algorithm has changed, and I also think that consumer behavior has changed, consumer spending has changed, and you know, our entire livelihoods change from year to year. So yes, that makes sense. What was popular last year may not be as popular this year. But what's happening on social media is social. And I like engaging with other candle makers. I love engaging with other accounts. There's so many other people out there that inspire me. And so I engage with their content. Well, the problem is once I engage with their content, Instagram or whatever social media platform is shows me more of whatever that is. And then I start to think, oh my gosh, I'm seeing all this stuff. Are my products out of date? And the answer is no, they're not. But that's just what you're seeing right there. So be really careful with your social media. Listen to your customer base. If you don't have a customer base yet, if you don't have followers on Instagram yet, if you haven't built that community, ask your loved ones, ask your friends, and ask them to be honest with you. Way more harmful for them to lie and say, oh yeah, that's great, I love your product, when in fact they don't love your product. And ask tons and tons of people. Don't just take one opinion. If there's certain scents that you really, really like, take your prototypes, have your family smell them, have your friends smell them, have coworkers, acquaintances smell them, and hear their feedback. You would be surprised. You would be surprised how many scents I almost tossed because they just did not appeal to me. And I would let other people that I know smell them and they'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You have to put this in a candle. And I'm like, what? And without that outside opinion from multiple people, I would have not put that scent in a candle, and I would have missed an entire group of people that really truly love that scent. I'm going to wrap this up for today. I appreciate you guys sitting here and hanging out with me. I'm sorry if this was very long-winded and redundant. This is my first rodeo when it comes to YouTube. Planning on having a new video, new long form video available every Wednesday. I'm going to try to stick to that schedule. And I would just love to hear feedback from what you guys would like to hear from me and what you would like to see within the studio. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you think of the video and what you guys would like to see next week. Thanks for watching.